So let's open these up. This CPU right here. What the f? What's going on, everybody? Chump Change XD here. Hope you're all staying healthy and having a great day. So as promised, I'm going to open this box today in this video. And on top of that, I kind of want to start building these CPU mining rigs. I've been procrastinating slightly, only because I'm not looking forward to actually hanging these all on the wall. And on top of that, I need to figure out the power situation. I need to eventually get this thing installed out here like I was supposed to quite a while ago. I've just been super lazy because I don't feel like doing any more work on my house right this minute, but I know that's something that has to be done. So I need to get a wire ran basically under the stairs into my basement over to my panel and hooked up. That's going to be in the next upcoming days because I'm not going to have a choice at this point. I'm going to have to plug these in, but today we'll at least get these three CPUs into motherboards, maybe with the coolers on them, maybe not, really depends. I'll probably put the regular fan coolers on one of them, and then the water blocks might wait for another video, but we'll see. So the main thing that's really been like kind of boggling my mind, I want to try to power two of these CPU mining rigs right here with one of those power supplies. And as you can see, I'm already doing that right here with this RYZEN 5 2600X that we built on Misfit Mining Saturday Night Live. I actually snagged the Pico power supply, this guy right there, and it has a splitter off for the CPU to plug into that and a connection that goes onto a breakout board basically. This came with the used mining rig that I purchased from a fellow Discord member, so thank you for that, because that thing's actually excellent. I do have another one, I just have to make it up. But we're not going to be using those. Mr. Matt Electron Engineering showed me that these exist. It's an ATX 24-pin power supply splitter, basically. So this right here is the 24-pin from the actual PSU. If we can split that, and I can feed one to one motherboard, one to another, then all we need is a CPU splitter, which I also ordered, and it should be here in a couple days. I think like 2 days. I'm going to be having 3 of those arrive as well. So I should be able to split 3 PSUs to 6 different CPU mining rigs. Next thing, quick shout out, Midnight Miner. You're an absolute animal. This guy sent me 2 motherboards that he got in his Newegg bundles because he knew that I was going to be building CPU mining rigs. I just wanted to say thank you so much. You didn't have to send either of these over. This is a B450M. Actually, you know what? I think he sent the Pro over that we already used. This right here, B450 Pro Max, never had this. So interested and excited to use this one. Either way, I just wanted to say wicked thank you to Midnight Miner. Go check them out when you guys get a second. So now what I want to do is let's open up this box. Then after we open that, I want to shut this rig down and this one right here, obviously, because they're connected. I want to unplug this one entirely because I need to see how much power this one rig by itself pulls off of that PSU after doing all the BIOS stuff, undervolting and all that. Because I want to make sure it's going to be safe to run 2 of those units and not just run the one. I mean, obviously it's up and running right now and nothing's happened, but I don't know how close it is to maxing out that PSU. So we're going to test that out as well. Let's open this up right now and then we will get to the nerdy number stuff, as Mr. Altered Component would say. A Rogue Strix B450F Gaming. This is the same motherboard that I have right here. And as you guys know, I wanted 3 of them so I can make 3 of the same exact rigs. Which then brings me to this box right here that I actually got off of B&H used for like 79 bucks, I believe. Another B450F Gaming. So now we have the 2 new ones that we need for those 2. Now let's shut this thing down. I want to see how many watts this thing's pulling because it's really been bothering me and I'm really just interested to know. So let's see. So this is the power supply feeding this motherboard. I just unplugged that for now. Now let's go plug this in and I'll be right back. All right, she's all plugged in. Now let's turn this thing back on. Totally forgot I have to jump the pins. Use my knife. And there we go. All right, so mid 60s on the startup. Let's see where this thing goes once it registers in HiveOS. All right, CCXD CPU 1 is up and hashing. So if we come down here, we're at 112 watts, which is fantastic. So 2 times 112 is what, 224-ish? So 225, I mean, that's under 250. This thing's a 450 watt power supply. To be honest, pulling half of the wattage is actually more efficient than pulling less than half. So I'm actually excited about that. So let's plug this back in. I want to see how much more power this one draws because it has the fan, not the actual CPU cooler with 2 fans. So yeah, let's just see. To be honest, in my opinion, this doesn't matter if you plug it in hot. I already did it previously, so this thing is now plugged in. Now I have to jump it as well. Okay. Now I just jumped this one. So we're gonna wait for this thing to come up inside HiveOS because that is CCXD2. And we're gonna see how much more wattage it pulls. We're already at almost 170, so let's see once it starts hashing. All right, CCXD2 is up and running. And if we come down here, it's at 333 watts, which is still totally fine in my mind. But I don't know if you guys have noticed, the weird thing about CPU mining is the wattage actually jumps around quite a bit because this was at like 225 and then it went up to 333 and then back down to like 250 and now it's back up pretty steady around 333. So I think the first calculation of that single miner right there was most likely or most definitely a little bit off. Either way, 75% of this PSU right here is what, roughly 300, a little more than 300. So right now we're about 80%. If I had to guess rough numbers without actually doing the math, we're about 80%. Look, see, I just showed you. Crazy, right? It drops 100 watts. I don't understand it. So bounces around quite a bit. If there's something I'm missing, a reason it's doing that, please let me know in the comments below because I seriously have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to CPU mining. So let's get to it. I want to open up these two Ryzen 9s. I want to at least get them in these two motherboards. And I think I'm going to open up this B550 Wi-Fi motherboard and put that Ryzen 7 in it. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, so this is going to be the lineup for this evening. We're going to throw a Ryzen 9 3900X in this B450F gaming. We're going to throw a Ryzen 9 3900X in this B450F gaming. Believe this is a number 2 version, which is weird. I don't know what the difference is. And we're going to be throwing a Ryzen 7 5700G into this Asus Prime B550 MA Wi-Fi. Probably not going to use the Wi-Fi adapter because, for example, this one right here would not work inside HiveOS for whatever reason. So this CPU right here is actually used, and I got it off of Amazon. I flipped it around to see if the pins were okay when I first got it, and they seemed fine. So let's just toss this in here. All right, so the lever's up right there. Just make sure it's in place and clamp it down. Okay, simple as that. Now we're gonna open this one because this one's actually brand new. So I have to cut the seal on the back side. Man, this one-handed stuff doesn't get any easier. Open this up. Let me get this out of the package. Brand new Ryzen 9 3900X. Again, lever in the upright position, and we're gonna put the CPU in place, and we're gonna push the tab down until it snaps. Now that's secure. So we got 2 CPUs installed. Now we're gonna open up this Ryzen 7 5700G, again, brand new from Micro Center. This actually has onboard graphics. That's what that G stands for. Again, lever in the upright position. Get that CPU dropped in and clamp her down. Perfect. So now we have all 3 CPUs at least installed on the motherboards that they are going to be mounted on this wall with. So yeah, now I got to figure out what to do. Okay, coolers. Obviously those 2, I want to make them look exactly the same. So they're going to be water blocked with these Auraflow 240s that I got super cheap on Amazon. I think they were like $63 or something, absolutely insane. This one right here, I'm actually not going to use this cooler that came with it. It is just a normal ring light CPU cooler. I think I'm going to use one of these prisms, I think they call it, that came with the 3900X. That was my plan all along. It's the same exact one as this guy right here, as you can see. She's beautiful, brand new. So that's gonna be the plan there. I'm just gonna slap it on here and that's it. This one's gonna be done basically to just put some RAM in and plug in and go. These 2, I gotta throw a RAM in, put the coolers on, and then they'll be also ready to go. All right, so as I'm sitting here contemplating on next steps and if I should continue to build this right now or not, I realized I only have 2 more sets of this 3600 RAM. So these are 3200. I think I'm gonna replace the 2 that are in on this motherboard because that Ryzen 5 only does so much anyways. I don't think 3200 megahertz RAM is going to really make that much of a difference from the 36 on that Ryzen 5 2600X. So for one, I'm super pumped that that power meter over there told us that these 2 rigs running together were going to be fine. So I'm assuming 2 of these will be running together fine. I mean, this might take a little more power or it might not because it's a newer CPU. Honestly, I really don't know, but we're going to test it out one way or the other. Then 2, at least I figured out which motherboards I was going to use, what CPU in where, because I do still have 2 more that I need to fill up. So I need 2 more CPUs. I'm not going to go out and splurge on them right now. I want to get these 5 machines all mounted up on this wall. I know we already have 1, but there's going to be 4 more on top of that. So I couldn't wait. I had to swap it out now. So now I gotta turn this thing back on. Let's get into the BIOS. As you can see, I just threw in the GT710, the good old faithful, to give us some video out. And yeah, let's jump into the BIOS. Just got to adjust the RAM because obviously I had it set for 3600 megahertz. Now it needs to go down to 32 because the 36 are over there and it's going to be slapped into these motherboards real soon. That's hysterical. I literally just turned the motherboard so the keyboard and mouse cables would reach. I just plugged her back in as well, so now all I have to do is jump the power supply so it turns on like so, and spam the delete key so it shows up in the BIOS. So frequency on the megahertz, we're going to turn it down to 3200 and hit enter, and then we're going to exit and save and exit, and yes, that was probably the easiest RAM swap on the planet. So now let's just see if this registers inside HiveOS and then we'll be good to go. Back up and running inside HiveOS, perfect. Come down here, 250 watts to wall, even better. I went ahead and put the RAM in while I was waiting for it to show up inside HiveOS, and obviously, as you can see, the RGB looks great on that board. So as always, guys, I appreciate you all for watching. What we'll do, today's hump day hashing, we are going to build some of these water coolers. We're not going to do rig picks. We will do water blocks and install them live here, and I'll chat with you guys while I do it. So until then, please stay safe, and I'll see you guys real soon. Peace.